Dave, a different kind of test coming up for you this weekend, travelling to a Premier League side. What's the mood, the feeling around the place going into Sunday?
Cold at the moment. It's been a different week, as it has been for everybody, probably in preparation for a different game with different weather conditions. So to be fair, the first part of the week for us has been spent recovering from what's been a really hectic Christmas and New Year schedule. And we come into a period now where, yes, an important FA Cup game, but almost looking beyond that, within a January transfer window, some really important league games. So it's been managing that turnaround more than anything else. There'll be some focus today and tomorrow on what we want to do in the game and how we're going to go about it, and hopefully put in a performance on Sunday.
Given, I suppose, the frustration of last Saturday, is it almost a welcome change now to, I suppose, just take a step out of that league campaign for a minute and go into a game which I suppose you can view as a bit of a free hit?
Potentially, I'm not sure. Time will tell, I suppose, on that front. What I would say is that once Sunday is finished, we then will have almost like a reset with 21 games to go and understand where we are and where we want to be. We'd hope to have some more bodies in the building that will help us, but we'll have real clarity around who we've got to play, the points that we think we might need to achieve what we want to achieve. But that's still not looking beyond what Sunday brings, an opportunity, a real, I suppose, most recent challenge for our players to play against the best players in the country in terms of a team that plays in the Premier League, and whether it's remotivating, whether it's demotivating, or whether it's eye-opening, we'll certainly know some things after the game.
You mentioned the weather conditions earlier. How big a challenge has that been this week in terms of affecting your preparations?
It's been a challenge, of course it has, but I think it's a challenge for everyone. I think we're really fortunate to have covers here, so that if the frost does come, anything to sort of -2, -3, you're okay. Things don't really change. I suppose the challenge this week when we came in on Tuesday was that the snow had come down and it had frozen. So it took us probably 3 hours, 25, 26 of us out there, removing ice in order to get the covers off to be able to train on the grass. Once it gets below -5, -6, as it has done last night, and it will do again tonight, it becomes more challenging. So we preempted that. So we'll be indoor at Manchester City today. Again, the big clubs around us are really helpful with the relationships we have, and when we do need to call on them, normally they're really good. So we'll be there today, and then differently. Normally we train here and then travel. Tomorrow we won't. We'll travel and train on the way down, but again on a 4G pitch, just to really go over the stuff that we've done today. Like I say, we'll go into the game as prepared as we can be based on what we need to do. But although we'll try and prepare everything and we know what Crystal Palace do and how well they do it, they've got a Premier League game on Wednesday, and whether they make changes on Sunday or not is something that we're going to have to deal with. So we'll probably be clearer around information that we've given and whether we have to tweet that information when we get the team sheet at 1:45 on Sunday, but we'll do as much as we can in the meantime to make sure that we know what we're doing in terms of our game plan.
You've experienced cup upsets as a manager. You experienced even more as a player, going back to your Tranmere days. Great success there. What was the key to it back then, and are those experiences something that you can draw on heading into Sunday?
I can certainly draw on them, but I'm not playing on the pitch. You can try and pass on that experience and those messages to players. I think the game's changed. I think, listen, go back 20 years. Were cup upsets more prevalent because the game was more physical and you could maybe level the playing field, shall we say, by trying to leave one on someone and make it more of a battle and a scrap, potentially. One thing's for certain in my eyes, that the gap between what the Premier League has brought to the Football League, whether that be to the Championship. You saw games last night between Premier League and Championship clubs, and you look at teams that go from the Championship into the Premier League and get that funding and can try and compete in terms of signing it brings in. It's a massive difference. It's a really, really big difference. The game's got quicker, the game's got more technical, the game's got more skillful. So the gap is more challenging. Hence the upsets, really. Certainly upsets against Premier League clubs become less and less and less. That doesn't mean it's not a challenge that you want to try and face head on and try and mess up those statistics if you like, and that's something that we'll try and do. Your attitude's got to be bang on. You've got to have real belief. You've got to understand that through the course of Sunday, there's probably going to be some adversity, regardless of what that looks like. You've got to stick to what you want to do and try and adapt that in order to give you the best chance of a positive outcome. That's what the challenge sits on us as a management team and the players, and hopefully those two things combine and something can be a really good day for us.
You've been in a difficult moment in terms of injuries recently. I know the plan was hopefully to have Tanto back involved on Sunday. Is he still on track?
Yeah. So again, I suppose more of a challenge with surfaces and things like that. So even with him and our return to training protocol, he'll have to ticked off his top speed or 90% of his top speed and all them things, which has been difficult to do. But he's done that. He trained on Tuesday. He'll train again today. And again, we'll be fingers crossed, nothing happening between now and then. Be part of the squad on Sunday. And that gives us, like I say, another body. I suppose the positive of Sunday is you have 9 subs. It's probably not really a huge positive for us at the moment, but what it does do is give opportunities for some lads, younger lads, and Benno's trained with us a little bit, although he's still nowhere near the likelihood he'll be on the bench, and Che'll be on the bench on Sunday, which is great for them. But it's probably important to recognise that just because we have them involved, it's more the reason we have them involved because we have the opportunity to have 9 subs, whereas in a Football League game it's 7. So not to be jumping to too many conclusions in the team that we pick.
Don't want to get drawn too much on Louis Barry because it is about moving on from that now. But when you speak about the opportunity that now gives other players as opposed to step up and get their chance, presumably Tanto and maybe Jack Diamond as well are the two that fit into that category most in terms of this is their opportunity now.
Yeah, it's at the moment. We've obviously players. Fevs would be another one who obviously is out the team and things. But yeah, this next certainly few weeks, there will be those opportunities. We hope that from our perspective, we get the game concluded on Sunday. We then have a 6-day lead into what is a group of important league games for us with Reading and Crawley and Leyton Orient and Shrewsbury and Barnsley. So games that we're looking at 21 league games to go that become really, really pivotal, that we build up momentum and start getting results to keep us where we want to be. Like I say, we look at what we've done so far. We've got to, I wouldn't say match what we've done, but not far away from, in order to make sure we're with a sniff of those playoff positions. Those league games straight away become important. Then what we do going into February and March will obviously back that up. But as you say, in the short term, there'll be opportunities. We'll play in the game on Sunday, and whoever it is, we're going to be physically challenged because of the pace and power that the Premier League and Premier League players bring. So whether it's from starting the game or whether it's from off the bench, everyone's going to have to play their part because the 5 subs that we are able to make are going to be really, really important. And we'll have different roles to play in the game, whether that's consolidating, whether that's trying to change the game, whether that's trying to win the game for us. It will be dictated to by what the first part of the game looks like. From our perspective, we hope that we're still right in the game and in with a shout as it gets towards the back end of it. And the role that players will have to play might be slightly different.
Let's talk about Palace for a minute. A lot of quality. Easy to see what they're about. You mentioned it there. Pace, power, athleticism. And they come into this game in good form in the league, of course, with just 2 defeats in the last 12. How do you go about preparing to, I suppose, stop a team like that?
As you say, it's as much about stopping them, but it's also about us posing a threat. One thing's for certain, if we go there and aim to just stop them, then we'll lose, because we have to remain a threat with what we do. We have to accept and pick out what their biggest strengths are, and think how we can nullify or reduce them, but also where we think we can cause them problems. We then have to combine that and mix that with what our strengths are and what we want to do, and how we want to best try and cause them issues. That's always a challenge, because you look at games on a tactics board or on a football table and look at things that might happen. Ultimately, the players have got to go out and perform. We'll give them some ideas on how we can potentially cause some problems, because ultimately we have to cause some problems in order to be able to cause an upset, and that's what we're going to try and do. But wary that we have to be really, really good. We're going to have to be at our best, and they're going to have an off day. That's always the case when you go into Premier League grounds. We all hope that that's the case. One thing's for certain, if I can pick one thing, we've just got to make sure that we're at our best. If we're at our best and Crystal Palace are at their best, then 99% of the times they'll win the game, because they're at the level that they're playing at. We've got to go and challenge that and make sure, like I say, we're at our best, and we do everything we can to make sure they're slightly off it, and whether it be cause a little bit of doubt from their perspective, but try and cause some belief in our side of things, because we'll have 3,500 of our supporters that travel there. We'll go to look to enjoy the day and make it a good atmosphere. But every single football supporter travels to watch the team perform well, but most of them to watch the team win, and watch the team put in the right shift. So that's a minimum we have to do. And if we can do that and all them things, like I say, combine, then why not go there thinking we can cause a shock? You'd like to say over the course of the FA Cup third round there'll be one shock. Who'd say it can't be us?
And just finally, for you personally, we were discussing the other week, this is a managerial career that started at North Ferriby away with Colwyn Bay. To be leading County out at a Premier League ground on Sunday, will that be a proud moment for you personally?
Yeah, of course it will. You look at, and sometimes you think, I suppose our journey in terms of what the FA Cup looks like is to get to that third round and get an away draw at a Premier League club. Well, we've done that. Once that eventuality happens, it then becomes around, okay, we're going there and this is a tough ask. How do we do our best to try and get something from the game? So straight away you go from dreaming of a scenario to all of a sudden the reality of now going, okay, I want to try and go and cause a shot there and get something from the game. But I think like it's over 14, 15 years, like I say, going to those grounds that you spoke about, to this season, going to Blackpool and 4,000 of our supporters, and going to Huddersfield like we did on Boxing Day, going to Birmingham, to be going to Crystal Palace is another, like I say, game or moment that you should remember. As Mike just said previously, they asked me about Crystal Palace as a player. I don't remember, I had no idea what's going on. So you quickly move on from things in football. But when I do eventually finish managing, hopefully in a long, long time, it'll be something that I can remember for the right reasons.
Appreciate your time, Dave. Thank you.
Welcome. Cheers. Thank you.